Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
Stop. Don't miss the turn.
Just take a look at the radiator hose. I think it's bust.
Well, it's your radiator hose. It's busted.
Critics are raving. They're calling Oliver Stone's U-turn wickedly funny.
Who the hell are you? I'm her husband.
Sizzling.
I made you all hot and sweaty.
From Oliver Stone comes one of the year's best.
How come Patsy Cline don't put out no more new records?
Because she's dead.
U-turn.
Don't that make you sad?
I've had time to get over it.
Rated R. Opens everywhere Friday.
Hey, Steve. What's up, everybody? We're back.
It's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you without some dope shit. The step two. Are you feeling good?
I'm feeling fucking great, Steve. In case anybody wants to know, just behind the scenes, we were off last week because Matt G's moving. I'm going back to where we came from, Steve. I'm going back to Ohio. Steve's happy. I'm going to be a Buckeye again. I'm going to be living right by the campus, Steve. I mean, I'm right there, so.
Try to make a O. There we go.
There you go. OH. But looking forward to that. Might have some another missed episode coming up here. We'll see, but I'm going to be moving at the end of the month, and I'm excited about that. But part of the move is going through the treasure trove of stuff that my parents have saved for me in their house and collecting it to move out of their house while I move. And Steve went through the latest just boxes and boxes of sports cards, movie cards, wrestling cards, cartoon cards, and a couple other things. And I just thought it'd be fun to go through a few of these things, get a reaction from you, and just maybe go down memory lane real quick for a few minutes. How do you like that?
So I have to pretend like I didn't see them before.
Yeah, exactly. But you didn't see these.
Okay.
I didn't show you a lot of these. These are shits that I didn't even show. I just showed you the sports things, and we're not really going to go through with those. But one, shout out to a previous episode. Shout out to Clark the Shark. But we talked about Dick Tracy and just like the crazy amount of merch and like the cards and all that. Found a Dick Tracy collectible card showing him and the boy. But this is the only one of these I've found so far. But very cool. Before we get to the wrestling, which I know you're going to love, found Ninja Turtles cards from cartoon.
Very cool.
And movie. Just these are straight from cool. 1990. I mean, this is that 1990, so. And
brought back some great memories, man.
Dude, I'm telling you. I mean, you saw it from the cartoon, Usagi Yojimbo, the samurai rabbit. I mean,
yeah,
we're here. But then I start going through and I'm like, what are these little cool looking things? Wrestling cards, Steve. And first we got some cool, I showed you these like hologram cards, the Rockers. And then our boy, Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Brother Brutai?
Brutai's over here. And then I'm going to just go through some WCW cards here. And you tell me if you even remember some of these names. I bet you will, but Z-Man, Steve.
Z-Man, that's Tom Zink.
Tom Zink, aka Z-Man, aka Mr. Minnesota, proves that he's made of tough stuff as he towers over an unlucky opponent. So wow. Right away, you're 1 for 1. Obviously, we know Sid Vicious, Steve. You know him. Yeah. Do you know where Sid Vicious? Do you know where he comes from, though?
Arkansas.
This says home Memphis, Tennessee. Same as Young Buck. So I don't know if that's correct.
That's character story.
Flying Brian, Cincinnati.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. to the legend. Lex Luger. I mean, we know this. The total package.
Total package.
Anyone with eyes can see that Lex Luger is a fine physical specimen, but while he's got a great bod, does he have what it takes to win the world heavyweight title? I don't know.
Wait and see.
This is one I didn't ever remember. The Southern Boys.
The Southern Boys. I think that is Road Dogg's brother,
Steve?
Armstrong, Brad Armstrong.
This
Or is
says
it
Steve
Steve
Armstrong and Tracy
Okay.
Smothers, Steve.
Tracy Smothers. I remember both of them. I was in the right family, just off by a brother.
Southern Boys. How about this one? I don't remember this guy either. Kind of looks like Greg the Hammer Valentine. Tommy Rich.
Tommy Rich. They tried to make him out to be a nature boy, but like, bro, it takes charisma, not just blonding your hair.
I don't like this word choice for the back of the. Tommy's pounded plenty of challengers.
Pause.
Another Lex Luger. They were really getting Lex Luger out there. It's just another Lex. Another Z-Man. I mean, another Tom Zank. They're really getting him out here. Here's one that I remembered. El Gigante.
I had that card. El Gigante. One of the worst outfits in WWF history when he wrestled Undertaker at WrestleMania. It was just basically a giant bodysuit.
Yeah, it looked like he was kind of like a shaved monkey type situation, but like in the wrong places. It was weird.
Harry and the Hendersons.
And then a lot of these, okay, here's one. I mean, Ric Flair just throwing a fucking figure 4 on there. You knew. Another Sid Vicious, just, his motto, you can run, but you can't hide. Just so you know. That's his official motto. And then, weirdly enough, just another Southern Boys. I don't know.
Southern Boys.
But they, they were getting it. And so there's more of this. I've only had time to sort of go through enough to present these to you. But then, Steve, my dad's like, all your old hats are in a box. Get it.
Yeah.
So I start pulling hats out. There's a bunch of losers and duds and old Little League hats. But just some cool things that I thought. Old Toronto Blue Jays hat. I just loved this logo back in the day. Just, whatever.
Yeah. Shout out to Roberto Alomar.
Hell yeah. Couple of mint condition, just Chicago Bulls hats from the early 90s. You had to do it.
That one on the left ain't mint condition, man. That's got cum
yeah,
stains.
that one, I think that one I actually played basketball in, and then this isn't mint condition, but I thought it was dope as fuck. A Dream Team hat with embroidered autographs on the bill.
Are there stains on that?
There are some slight stainages on the actual white part of the hat, but as my dad said, you could wash the hat and probably get that out and not, these are embroidered, so it's not going to do any damage. You know what I'm saying? Like, be careful.
But still, I would take that to the dry cleaners before I put that in the washer.
Yeah, you might be right about that, but I thought that was dope. And then, Steve.
That's super dope. Put a cape on that hat.
While I found fucking those things, I'm looking in this box hat, and I'm like, what are these fucking cords? What are these? And what I found, Steve, is an original Nintendo Entertainment System. And I have the cords, I have the controllers, I have it all. It's all right here. And then I'm like, is there a game in this? There's a fucking game in the fucking system, Steve. It's the one that came with it, with Mario Duck Hunt and the track and field game that most people don't remember, that came with like a power pad thing.
It was a 3-piece.
And I don't have the games. This is heartbreaking, Steve, because we could be playing those wrestling games that we know and love from the 90s and early 2000s, because the other thing that was in this box is the cords are on.
Don't say.
The N64 from, dude, all the cords, bro. All of them.
Oh, man.
And the controllers. I got
some Ocarina of Time.
I got 3 controllers, too. We could be playing NWO, WCW Revenge right now. But that's it, man. And so, anyone that doubts our legitimacy, I got boxes of shit. I got receipts. So
we live this.
Yeah. So I'm excited, man. And these things will be in Ohio. When you come visit the new crib and we're doing live shows, maybe part of that live show can be us playing some N64 and just showing these kids what the fuck.
Show them how it's done.
So there you go, my friend. It's here. It's here.
I
mean, some of this shit might get, I don't even know. I might sell this because this shit might be worth a lot, but get it while it lasts, bud.
I would definitely keep that Ric Flair card, that Rockers hologram card, all of the movie shit that you showed me, and definitely that Dream Team card or hat.
Oh, dude. And you haven't even seen all the Dream Team cards I have. I mean, multiple. I was so into Dream Team that I was just in everything. There's duplicates on duplicates on duplicates. I got Larry Bird's. I'm lousy with Larry Bird, Steve. Lousy. So, but it's cool, man. It's weird to kind of see these things. These things have been in boxes for like 20, 30 years and just like deadlift shrimp cards and shit like that. Like I forgot about these people.
Hey, he was a beast. Sarunas Marshallonis.
Rick Smits too. There's an old ugly Rick Smits card in there. Some rookie Penny Hardaway cards and just I'm telling you, dude. There was some cool like Fleer did like long cards. They were like longer and like it wasn't the traditional size. But
I remember those.
Yeah, dude. And just, I showed this to Steve, but just shout out to 90s if you're into Saved by the Bell and fucking football. Nice Bobby Golick card just to throw in on it, just to throw some shade at everybody.
The college years, to be exact.
Yeah.
And,
why was he in RA at the fucking college, Steve?
Because they went to school in Cali and he played for the Raiders. I don't know. But I want to apologize to you on air because I had a misnomer and said Elijah Wood never hosted SNL. And I was wrong, being a know-it-all, thinking I had all the fucking answers. And I'm here to eat crow on this show today because he did host. It wasn't in the 90s. It was much later in 2003. And the musical guest was Jet. And I apologize, my friend, because it was around that time the Lord of the Rings was doing their thing. And I think I'm fuzzy on that era because Will had already left and I kind of dropped out and we were going to college. So I wasn't watching it as faithful.
Yeah.
And then there was that too.
There was a lot of that. There was a lot. But I had to refresh my memory. And if you remember back to that time, Steve, Lord of the Rings, Elijah Wood, that whole thing was heavy in Matt Geddick's world. So it came through, but no apology necessary, my friend. You've educated me on so much that I feel like even if you make a misstep here or there, I mean, there's no way that you can even amass half of what I've done on this show of just like putting my foot deeply into my mouth. So it's okay.
Well, with that being said,
Dawn Springer.
I told him I wasn't in love with him anymore, and he just laughed.
She wants Steve to know she's got another lover.
He's done more for me in 3 weeks than you did in 4 years. He's a man.
A jilted boyfriend confronts the other man. Plus, Dwayne's been keeping a secret from his wife.
Like 4 days into my marriage, I slept with someone else.
God, it might be a real man.
Cheaters face the music.
You ain't perfect. You ain't perfect.
Next, Jerry Springer.
Tonight after Letterman on KOVR-13.
Hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Maggie with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your PS1s and your Super Soaker guns and boom, shake, shake, shake the room. Boom, shake, shake, shake the room. Boom, shake, shake, shake the room. Tick, 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 boom. Today, my friend, we're talking about all things October 12th in the 90s. Starting off in 1990, Mr. Destiny premieres. Unhappy Larry Burroughs sees what his life could have been like if he had made that winning home run as a teenager. Directed by James Orr, starring James Belushi, Linda Hamilton, John Lovitz, Rene Russo, Courtney Cox, Hart Bachner, Michael Caine, and Kathy Ireland.
Damn. It's a lot of stars for a movie I've never even heard of, but Mr. Destiny.
Mr. Destiny. And I remember seeing the artwork or the cover a lot in the blockbusters, and it's basically a modern take on It's a Wonderful Life. He calls back to the time he was in the Little League championship and he struck out and things could have went different. He could have gotten with the girl of his dreams. Instead, he's married to Linda Hamilton, which isn't a slouch. You know, he would prefer being with Rene Russo, which, I mean, Rene Russo, she was that thing. It's just, not too far off. But Michael Caine, he's the bartender at this like majestic bar, and he's like basically the guy telling him like, all right, you want to change your life? All right, here it is. Drink some of this spilled milk. and he drinks it, and then things change. Now he's married to Renee Russo. Now he's like the head of his company. John Lovitz is working for him, and he's scared the shit of him. He's like, oh, being a schlub per usual. And it becomes one of them things where it's like, you know what? My life wasn't as crappy. He's talking to Linda Hamilton, who he works with. He's like, he's addressing her like she's still his wife. She's like, why are like, I'm married. Don't touch me. Like, why are you hugging me?
Come on, baby.
And yeah, you know you want it.
Yeah, weird. Dude, I gotta say though, like just thinking about the comparison between just the wife, I'm taking a '90s Linda Hamilton over Renee Russo. You know what I'm saying? Also, you're getting Mel Gibson's second fiddles on that Renee Russo. So I don't know.
I likes me some Renee Russo though. I don't know.
Dangerous Game. Was that her? No, that was Cindy Crawford. Never mind. But Michael Caine, getting Michael Caine in a movie like this sounds like a King Ralph type situation, like that level of movie. And Michael Caine is an Oscar award winner. I don't understand what he was doing. He must have owed somebody some money or something.
Well, it's funny you say that because it was this film that convinced him to move back to the UK because he was just, it was a supporting role. And, you know, he was, like you said, he's used to being like a star, one of the stars in the movie. And, you know, he wasn't completely done in America. He would do some bit parts here and there, but, you know, he packed his things and went back across the pond. And it wasn't until much later in the decade, or probably the 2000s, that he decided to pick up some more American work.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like, I mean, he's just been so famous for so long. It's tough to like suss it out, but like, what were the early things? Obviously, he was Alfred in the Christian Bale Batman, so that was like early 2000s. But he had to have been doing. I feel like there was something like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels and shit like that. Like, you know, was that 90s or was that 80s?
I want to say that's late 80s.
Yeah, that might be. That was a good ass movie. But man, that's crazy, man. Michael Caine was like, fucking, I gotta get the bloody hell out of here. Fucking working with goddamn what's his face, Belushi. Man, they were giving this guy all the shots.
They were.
It's this kid, it's his brother. They were like, "Come on, man, we had all these plans for him. You got the same name and face. Come on."
So yeah, let's throw him a bone. But also in 1990, To Sleep with Anger premieres. A charismatic old acquaintance drifts into town, stirring up trouble for a mild-mannered family. Directed by Charles Burnett, starring Danny Glover, Paul Butler, Mary Alice, Carl Lumbly, Vanetta McGee, Richard Brooks, and Cheryl Lee Ralph. Fine.
Cheryl Lee Ralph. I don't know who that is. Danny Glover though. The glove. Okay, man.
Too old for this shit.
Yeah, he definitely. Damn, Danny, dude. I've never heard of this. Is this like, what's the tone of this movie, Steve?
It's serious, it's dramatic, and you know, Danny Glover, he plays the old acquaintance of Mary Alice, who's the matron of the family, and they are already having their inner turmoil with their own family. And he comes to visit, and one of her like girlfriends, one of her friends from the neighborhood, she knows Danny Glover from back in the day, and she's like, he's no good. They're religious people, and you know how I see bad juju in him. You need to get him out the house because he comes in to stay with them. You know, he's going, you know, traveling, I guess. He's going through cities, and he's like, hey, I'll make a stop by. He's like, oh yeah, it's good to see you, catch up. And he's outstayed his welcome, and things happen while he's there. And you know, spoiler alert, eventually Danny Glover like slips on some marbles that the little kid behind me drops, and he dies. You know, has a heart attack.
I'm slipping on some marbles. What's a Home Alone shit is that, Steve?
Yeah, where's Kevin McAllister? And so they just leave him there on the kitchen floor for the rest of the movie because the cop, when the paramedics get there, for some reason they can't take him to ER, so they have to wait for somebody else to pick him up. I can't remember, but the guy just like is laying there.
Danny Glover's just laying on the ground for half the movie, Steve.
Yeah, they're just walking over him and catching up because there's a lot in this movie. It wasn't actually a bad movie. Everybody did their parts on this, man. Very convincing, and I believe it's available on Tubi.
Damn, what a strange movie, but hey. What is the lady, the mom? What is behind? Is she in anything? Because she looks very familiar.
That's Shirley Ralph. She was in she's in Elementary. What's that show that's on now? It's the sitcom Abbott Elementary. She's the one of the teachers.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn,
She
man,
she
that
was
chick has
D.
been around and back again. Damn, I thought they just kind of plucked her out of the blue, but she's been acting for that long. Damn,
She was Moesha's stepmom.
damn, mom. There
Yeah.
you go, Steve. Putting my fucking foot in my mouth again. But that's crazy, and that's cool too. I mean, damn, that's cool that she's now in a successful TV show. But damn, she was bad as fuck back in the day. Honestly,
She was Miss wherever Caribbean island she's from. She was Miss that. So she was doing pageants. So she's been fine for years.
okay. Look at that, Steve. Through the decades.
Man, something that was very strange. Also in 1990, Trove 2 premieres. It's directed by Claudio Fragasso, Michael Stevenson, George Hardy, Connie McFarlane, Jason Wright. I'm not even going to bother to read the premise because now we've covered some movies, Matt, that have been some shit shows.
Yeah.
But this right here, Troll 2, really does take the cake.
Ooh, okay.
It's stupid. It's just stupid. Everything about it.
I thought Trolls was like sort of a movie, like a horror movie in the vein of like a Leprechaun, but this looks like
first
some
one.
kind of fantasy shit where they're just hanging out in Trollville, Steve.
Yeah, there aren't even trolls in the movie. I don't know what the fuck these are. They're not supposed to be trolls though. I guess they're goblins. And Trolls 2 has nothing to do with Troll 1, which makes it even dumber.
So it's Troll 2 Electric Boogaloo, basically.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
I mean, I always just avoided these because these were around. Like, you'd see these on the shelves and just be like, that's just like, that's a porno with no sex. I'm not going to watch this. This looks insane, though. The masquerade, the costuming.
Yes, dude. Oh my God, bro. You can see the mouths inside the mask. That's bad, bro. It's stupid bad. Like, this is the worst movie that we have ever covered up to this point.
No, the worst. Okay. Now that's a challenge to me to actually watch this because I have to see this. If it's that bad, it's got to be that. You laugh, though, at the badness. Or is it even that bad?
It's not bad. It's good. No, it's bad. It's so bad.
It's just bad.
That it's horrible. Yeah, the set design, the acting, the writing, did I say the acting? The costume design, the wardrobe, and the acting. And
well, it looked like they paid a lot for like some of the masks, but then they put like a potato sack on the bodies, and that's just like the extent of it. And then maybe the mask deteriorated, and they got even worse. Like, because the one on the left just looks like some shit. That that looks like they pulled that from a different movie, but I've never finished a movie. Like, I've never made a 100 or an hour and a half long movie. So these guys succeeded in something I haven't done, but this looks like a porno, Steve. It looks like a porno. Really.
I would rather have not made any movie in my life than be participating into this shit, man. The entire cast, they initially signed up to be extras in this movie. And then they get a call back later saying like, hey, do you guys just want to like be in the movie? Like, instead of being extras, I know that's what you signed up for, but like, you guys are actually going to be like the family in the movie.
Like, yeah, Al Pacino's going to be in this movie. Yeah, cool. Show up. Yeah, that's crazy too. But I mean, what'd they do? It looked like they just took some bit players from like Universal Studios that are like the small people that are in the small costumes and just were like, look, guys, this is your one time to be a star in a movie. So put these shitty masks on, get out there and hold these fucking weird farm tools, and we're going to make a movie out of this. So let's do this.
And the kid that's behind me, he grew up and he directed a documentary on this movie, and that actually got some acclaim because this movie is universally panned by all the critics, Siskel and Ebert, all those guys, New York Times. And I actually want to see that. That's available on Tubi as well. I can't call the name of it. It might be called Worst Best Movie Ever, some shit like that.
I would rather watch that. Maybe I'll check that out instead.
Yeah, man, I don't know if you can
I
stomach
love
it.
a great documentary about a shit show movie production. I don't know if you remember that movie they made about the guy who made the Boondock Saints movie. It was called
Yeah.
Overnight. There was a documentary about him and his like rise and fall in Hollywood because this dude wrote Boondock Saints, got this crazy contract from the Weinsteins, and was such an asshole that he nearly catastrophically fucked that movie getting made up because he was just like a guy who thought everyone should be kissing his ass and stuff. And they made a documentary just following this dude just fucking his whole like burning every bridge he possibly could in Hollywood. It's crazy.
Well, that's similar to this guy, Claudio Fragasso, who is Italian and speaks little English. And the actors insisted, like, hey, can we add some little nuances to our script? Because he's writing the script verbatim, like how the words are said, in the dictionary terms. And so like that added to the bad acting. So like things just sound very bland when they're supposed to be surprised. They're just like, oh my God. He wanted to make sure that they're sounding out their words. Oh my God. And so like, imagine going to Italy. I don't know a lick of Italian. Like, imagine writing a script in Italian.
So basically, he wrote a script in Italian. They translated it to English and then made people read this shit. And that's great. That's awesome. You have to enunciate the words. Like, this is dog shit.
Like they couldn't ad lib it. And just one more thing, man. He crashed the cast reunion Q&A because he was pissed off. He would calling them liars and dogs, and he was escorted out of the Q&A session.
Oh my God! That's hilarious. This guy made an awful movie and then went to the reunion. It's like, no, you guys are the ass. What a fucking dick.
He doubled down, man. But in 1991. Howard Stern Show is airing season 2, episode 17 with guest John Stamos. And man, every time we visit Howard Land, man, you're in for a treat.
I mean, how did this show stay on so many episodes? Because he was getting kicked off the radio for obscenity, Steve. This is much more obscene in some cases. He's got he's got a chick with triple H's, Steve, out here selling Snapples. I mean, this guy's a fucking legend.
Totally. And we start this off with Stuttering John interviewing Sally Jesse Raphael at the Central Park.
I love Stuttering John, man. Like, is it a put on? Is it completely? Does he do that to disarm the people he's interviewing before he says something shitty to him? You think?
No, he does stutter.
No, I know that, but I just like what a way to disarm people, though, because he does that where he'll be like, "Are you gay?" And it's just like, just throw something crazy at him. I gotta say, Sally Jesse really like. I would think of anyone, that bitch would be going off like a Karen situation in this, and she handles this like a G. She's just kind of laughing it off. I love it.
She was pretty cool about it. Howard says her glasses are bigger than her bra, and you think they should put hair and eye color on Chinese driver's license?
Yeah, dude. And when I love that because she takes that and she doesn't like what he says there. She's like, "Do you know how many valid driver's licenses there are in China?" And starts like lambasting him with facts, and he has to bail on it and pusses out, and he's like, "What do you think of Howard?" Like he has to just bail and just say that. And she's like, "He's cool, he's fine." I'm sure Howard Stern said a lot of bad shit about Sally, though. I'm sure, there was some shade thrown her way.
Oh yeah, if you had a talk show back then, man, Howard's going to shit on you, even if you're cool.
Yeah, but I do like that when he says that, or like he says like, what do you think of Howard, or like whatever, and like Sally Jesse kind of like struggling to answer it, but there's like a kid behind her in the background, and this little like teenage kid's like, he's awesome, and that stops
Yeah.
the interview. I was like, hell yeah, kid,
That
hell yeah.
was us.
Yeah, exactly. And then we we got a snap to a commercial, Steve, and just Howard first is just, I love this part of the show because it's what I loved about his radio show when people would fuck up and he'd just be like, come on, go back. He's like, kind of berating people and stuff. But Kayla Cleavage comes out. She's the spokesmodel. And Kayla, Steve, there's a debate happening during this Snapple ad about whether or not they're natural or not. And there's no definitive answer here, but I think we all know.
Yeah, look at how big my nose is, and that's natural.
I like Howard's like, Kayla Cleavage. Is that Jewish?
That's a Jewish name, right?
There's one other thing that he says. Oh, he's like, yeah, Snap Up. It's brought to you. It's got electrolytes or something in it. Like, this is an ad read for a product, and he's just like, I can't concentrate other than anything under these huge ass titties that are over here. And this chick is just like holding Snapples, dude. It's genius. This guy might be the greatest marketing whiz of all time, Steve, if nothing else.
Yeah, king of all media, man. She's dancing, and they bring those blurs out because them things ain't gonna stay in that bra.
Yeah, I love. He's like, come on, you got stop shaking so much. We got to use some of this for TV. And then Steve, then we get to, I mean, this is hilarious, but John Stamos is on, and he's being interviewed by Larry King, Steve. And as always, Howard, I love that Howard Stern, is he in costume every episode of the show? Because every episode we watch, he's put on a creepy, weird costume of some kind.
I believe so, man. Like whether it's Pee Wee Herman or Madonna or Bob Hope, yeah, he's looking obnoxious. He's the star of Full House and Blackhead on General Hospital.
What? Okay, so were people really calling him Blackie on General Hospital?
Well, I had to do my research, and that was his character's name. Blackie
His name
Parrish.
was Blackie.
Blackie Parrish.
Okay. So this interview is hilarious because it's, John Stamos and Howard Stern are obviously friends. John's just enjoying himself. He's getting asked weird questions.
One guy calls in. He's like, what do you think about the coloreds and the Jews in Crown Heights? And it's like, I think they should all get together and sing like Come Together Now or some shit. And then the other guy's like, I'm a proud African-American. Now you on the show Full House. Now, do y'all have enough room for a black man in that house?
Yeah, but John is quick to point out that a young, smart guy, I forget what his name is, but he's like, we actually do have a black kid on the show.
Yeah, Taj Mowry.
He feels obligated to actually stand up for Full House and representation at that point. But when this chick that comes in is actually like, the call-ins bring this chick. Amy from Altoona calls in, and then she shows up because Larry's like, well, come in and you can like meet John Stamos. She comes in, and then while she's here, Paula Abdul calls into the show, Steve, if I'm not mistaken. Is that Paula Abdul? I honestly, Steve, was it not?
That was totally Billy West, man. Paula Abdul was not going to call. It was Billy West. Because Howard says, like, so is this really Paula Abdul or just Billy West?
Damn, then that guy is the greatest voice instrumentalist of all time, because I thought it was a chick. I just thought it was a chick on the staff, but then I was like, this is a woman. This can't, like, but if that's Billy West, then damn, that guy's way more talented than I thought.
Yeah, because if you listen to it, man, you could tell, like, he's able to hit them a high pitch, like, impressions, man.
Well, then they cut to commercial. I keep going over this because there was a lot of fun shit. Another funny thing that somebody asked him in the call-ins is, John Stamos, are you hung like the Acropolis, or is there a Greek tragedy between your legs? I love that Greek question. That was hilarious.
And he says, you know that statue when you go to Washington? Yeah.
And constantly throughout this, even when they're talking to people on the phone or whatnot, he's like, we're back here with Blackie from like not even saying John Stamos half the time. And even John Stamos starts going from Blackie from General Hospital when he's talking about himself.
Blackie.
We're back with Blackie and Larry and his new fiance. Fucking and then one just thing that I thought was hilarious. They do have this chick here, Amy from Altoona, that's basically sitting there silent, looking hot the whole time. She doesn't do anything. And then they start getting like near the end of the thing, and Howard's like, "Hey, Amy, shut up!" Like just pointing out she's not saying anything. And I think he's also there to like right out off camera because he's like, John Stamos is like, dude, I don't want to do this. Her husband's like right there, and you can tell like there's some weirdness happening off screen. I love it.
And they also promote his made-for-TV movie Captive. And I noticed another familiar face, Joanna Kearns. And Howard or Larry, he's like, after this movie comes out, you'll be able to get engaged with a lot of women. I'm telling you, the possibilities are going to be there. He looks so angry because he's about to rape.
Have you? And guys, I'm going to cut to the clip they show. If like this movie looks insane. The clip they show is John Stamos just like, it looks like he's being possessed by Satan. He's tearing his shirt off and just like breathing heavy. And then he just walks up to a woman while her husband's tied up on a bed and is like, touch it, touch it,
touch it,
look at it. Like, what, dude, what was we have to watch Captive, Steve, just to see what it's like. I feel like
I'm sure it's available on YouTube.
I mean, it looks insane, dude. Like, is the movie about this guy just like raping a woman in front of her husband? Because that looked crazy.
Yeah, where's Alan Thicke when you need him? And next we have Crown Heights Jeopardy, and this is just wrong in so many ways. And Howard as Alex Treblack. That was a moniker I would use for Over the Culture. That was one of my many monikers, Alex Treblack. Not because of this, but the contestants are Rabbi, Officer Roger, Chill from House Party, and Tyrone Frazier. Howard says they feel more comfortable in packs, referencing the black guys. Chill is he'll be known as Malcolm Excrement, and Tyrone Frazier will be Tyrone Shoes. So bad.
But this is Jeopardy, and there's these different questions. And I actually learned something in this Jeopardy, Steve, that I didn't know. And that is that the word putz, that's like a Jewish, just like the word from Jewish vocabulary. I thought it was just like an idiot. Like, you're a putz.
That's what I thought.
It means penis, and I didn't know that, Steve. So shout out to anybody who has a putz. I feel like that's like a tiny dick. That sounds like a micro dick, you know? You don't want somebody to be like, nice putz. It doesn't
sound flattering.
Yeah.
And boobala, unbeknownst to me, it means baby or a sweet little thing. Boobala.
I didn't know that, but that makes like, you could trace that back because it's usually in like shows and comedies I've seen, it's like people saying that to kids. So I could see that, but like putz, I would just like always be like, you're such a putz. I didn't know you were calling somebody a dick, basically, which I do like that. That's pretty cool.
I like the fact that they had two sets of prizes. In the beginning, you could get a yarmulke bra, a Al Sharpton dartboard, Tony Bennett sculpture, a rap version of Hava Nagia, and Jungle Fever condoms. But by the end, they have available a Lisa Bonet nose ring, Jewish Monopoly, a spare set of pigtails, and a Spike It club.
And in the midst of this, we still have to cut to ads. And the ads on this show are fucking insane. And this ad is for a fax machine it's Brother's fax machine. And for some reason, Chill gets real into this one where he's like, man, you get everything like folds up in on itself. And like this fax machine doesn't do that. Like he says, he's like, I use this shit. So I thought that was hilarious that, you know, I don't know. They got like a legit ad read on this insane show where they like the last one was a chick holding up two fucking snaffles on her titties. And I don't know how much Brothers Fax company would appreciate their ad being run on this insane fucking Jeopardy like sketch that they're doing. Cause this thing, I mean, dude, how long was this? 15 minutes of this shit?
Something like that, man.
And it's a lot of people arguing. I do like when they cut to what's his name? Fuck. Now I'm spacing on the not Jackie, the other Fred. Fred's doing all like the ad reads and shit, and I love Fred and his voice work. He's fucking hilarious.
Hold it though.
And then we cut to this is where like near the end they start reading like letters to the show basically. And one Donna Dietz writes in to just tell everybody about some concern she has about a sketch that Howard did on one of the other episodes where it's like a Madonna sketch. And in it, obviously Howard's Madonna. He has two dudes like cook their junk on a frying pan, I think. There's a lot of fucked up shit, but
do it for Madonna. And cut back to Howard. He's just like, all right, lady, if you think that's disgusting, watch this. And then Baba Booey and Jackie, they basically like act like they're pulling out his guts and then he start bleeding from his shirt. I love it.
Yeah. And then somebody writes in to ask for sexy nude pics of Robin. But he's not going to get that, but he is going to get some sexy pics of some guy named Dan Foreman, who I think is like a PA on the set, that he does like some nice, tasteful nudes for the dude, which I thought was hilarious.
Man. And that's that episode, man. Another classic, man. I wish we'd have known.
The E Channel Howard show that we got to watch, that was, that was the one that I knew of. This is of an insanity and like depravity level that's so much more than that, because that was all like sex and like blipped out nudity and shit like that. But this, we've never watched an episode that wasn't like 10 out of 10 fucked up in some way, the Roseanne shit that we watched, that one where it was like trippy and crazy. This was kind of tame compared to some of the shit, but that Crown Heights thing just made it I feel like it just got crazy at that point.
Pee-wee's Play With Yourself house. That's a classic.
That's the one, dude. That's the one I was trying to think of. I was like, he looked, yeah. So this dude was going for it. And like the fact they gave him the E show after this aired, is crazy, because if I was on E channel, I'd be like, we can't get, like, he's going to do that on this. We're going to get our whole channel shut down. Like this was like a local thing. This wasn't like nationally televised. So
there's no way that,
that's crazy.
They wouldn't let that fly.
I'm going to say it again because they brought it up as like one of the things, but that banned by the FCC, like box set thing that he had that you could get, that was like tapes or CDs. I want that. I want to get that somehow. There's got to be a way to they got to be selling it on eBay or some shit. I would love to hear that.
And that same day in 91, boxer Hector Camacho is arrested for driving while getting oral sex. It's macho time.
That can go. I've watched Thinner, Steve. Roadhead can go wrong in a bad way, but he's a boxer. What was the scandal here? This guy's getting his propers. He beats the shit out of people and then he gets some head in a car. That's pretty awesome. Right?
It's macho time. Can't deny that, man. But in 1992, Fresh Prince is airing season 3, episode 5, Mama's Baby, Carlton's Maybe. An ex-girlfriend claims Carlton fathered their child. And once again, a Carlton-centric episode. Can't go wrong.
And this one's extra special, Steve, because Carlton may or may not have had some sex.
With a very familiar face.
And I honestly, we'll get into it, but the dilemma Carlton and everybody, I'd be all in too if Lark Voorhees showed up in the 90s on my doorstep saying I was the baby daddy. I'd be like, you know what? I don't remember this, but cool. I'm in. You are gorgeous.
And that's what he did. Because he's geeked at the beginning of the episode. Carlton's girlfriend is back in the picture. And Hillary comes in looking hot. She finds that out. She's like, Cindy, isn't that the girl that dumped you? That's kind of become the theme in the kitchen. Like, even Ashley says it. That's the girl who dumped you, right?
Yeah. And then Cindy shows up, Steve, looking fucking fantastic. And she, before we even know about any baby or whatever, she just lays a smacker on Carlton. And right off the bat, like it's going to be tough to go away from anything that she's asking you at that point. For Carlton, Steve, I mean, he's excited. This is the dream, Steve. She shows up and does that to you. I mean, this is going to be awesome.
Carlton, he never even lets Ken and Barbie sleep in the same shoebox.
And she, she's like, I have something for you. And other than the kiss, I'm like, damn, you might want to go into the pool house for that, but it isn't that, Steve. It's a kid. And is this like how from high to low? I mean, this is just a huge just shift in the tone, Steve. I'd be like, what? And I like, okay, we understand that the end of this episode, whatever happens, knowing what happens at the end, Steve, right here, I mean, you gotta just be like, we didn't even fuck. You gotta just put a kibosh on. I don't want to spoiler alert to the people that don't know what's gonna happen here, but right here and there, Steve, like, you gotta put the kibosh. You gotta at least say something, Like, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I never even put my penis inside you, man.
Hey, bro, we're talking Lisa Turtle. I'm gonna go with the flow too. And so there's that. And Viv and Phil, they come from the pool. And I found it funny that their pool man was mistaking Mrs. Banks for Mr. Banks. And because around this time she's pregnant. So she's getting bigger and she's insecure, about that kind of stuff. And they hear a baby crying. And Phil thinks it's her at first. And they go into the kitchen and they see Cindy, aka Lark Voorhees. And she's like, oh, it's good to see you, blah, blah, blah. And she drops the bomb on them. It's like, so what's his name? Carlton. And then Phil's just like, please tell me that your dad's name is Carlton.
He's like very unhumanistic to the baby because he's like, whose is that? Like it's a fucking like dirty shoe or some shit.
Or a dog.
But I do like when Carlton finds out, like before even Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil come in, she says it's yours, and he faints. And Will's like, we need water. And somebody brings him like a cup of water. You think he's going to like throw it on Carlton. And he just like guzzles the shit. Just fucking funny. But now, Phil and Viv know that Carlton's potentially a dad. Carlton faints again when he realizes his parents know. And then after that, I think it just cuts. We cut back to the living room and Uncle Phil's like, everyone out. Get the fuck out of the living room. We got some discussion to have. And everybody's going out. But Will's like kind of sticking by like he's supposed to be part of the discussion too, which I thought was fucking funny as well. He's like, he just like puts his arm around him like, man, what we do wrong, y'all?
Yeah, man, I thought they'd never leave. Man, you too. And so they're talking to Cindy and Carlton about like, you sure this is his kid? And eventually Carlton interjects when Phil says something to her and he's like, watch how you talk to the mother of my child. It's like, whoa.
Also at one point in this and this is something like, shame on you, Cindy, but they're like, what the fuck? Like they're like, everyone's pissed. Like, and Cindy's like, Carlton was the greatest lover I've ever had. He made me feel like I saw God and shit. It's like, bitch, what are you fucking saying to these people? They don't need to hear this, but thank you, but damn.
Yeah, this is parents. And everybody falls through the door from eavesdropping at that point.
And Cindy says she doesn't have a place to stay. She was kicked out as soon as her parents found out Carlton was the father. She had a kid. And Carlton's like, Mommy, can my girlfriend stay? Which is disgusting. I hate this. I don't like that behavior. And you can tell Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil are just like, fucking son of a bitch. God damn it. They're not happy, Steve.
Yeah. And Uncle Phil, he calls Cindy's parents and just immediately cusses the other person on the other phone out, and find out that it's like actually Cindy's probably sibling, and he's basically cussing out a little kid. It's like, so when will your mommy and daddy be home?
Yeah. One other funny thing, like as this progresses, is Carlton's having a discussion with his mom and dad about this, and like he's trying to be a good dad and stuff. And his mom's like, "You haven't even really like thought this through. Like, how are you going to take care of these people? Like, how are you going to take care of this kid and stuff? Like, you don't even have a job." And he's like, "Wait, you're not gonna be helping?" And his mom like Phil has to like hold her back because she's like, "Let me fucking fuck this kid up."
Yeah. And then like Will basically like fends him off by holding a banana. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna stick y'all with potassium. And later that night, we see Carlton like climbing down a rope Rapunzel style to try to elope with Cindy, and Will catches him after like Jeffrey dropped the dime on him basically, and he stops him. He's like, "Hey man, at least think this over, sleep on it, and then if you feel the same way next day, then hey man, I'll support your decision. But first, also give me your keys. Really, bro? You don't trust me? Like, hey man, you lucky I don't cut your foot off like Kuta Kinte." So he gives Will his keys. Will goes back in the house, and then shortly thereafter, you hear a car pulling up, and Carlton still leaves.
Motherfucker had a bag in the bushes, and they go to this wedding chapel, and they're just sitting there. They got to wait in line to get married. And while they're doing this is where this relationship starts to sort of like fumble a little bit. Carlton's like, everything's going to work out. I'm going to get a day job. I'm going to get a night job as soon as I get rid of this pesky fear of the dark thing. I'm going to have all this money, and you can stay at home and just take care of all these kids. And she's like, "Wait, kids? Plural?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Well, how many kids you thinking?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know. 8 is enough. I like that show. That sounded good." So now she's like, "Oh, okay.
Hold that thought.
Let me go to the bathroom and powder my nose real quick." So that she leaves.
What was funny was so he's left with the baby now, and the baby starts crying a little bit. He's like, "Here comes Mr. Ducky. Doesn't he quack you up?" Then the motherfucking baby just chucks that shit right back at him. Wow, if I could make a throw like this, they wouldn't have made me play on the girls' team.
And then he starts singing Mandy to the kid out loud during multiple marriage ceremonies. But you can see Carlton would be a good dad, unfortunately. But
it's all in.
Yeah, he's in, man. He's committed, and he's got a great singing voice, Steve. Oh, Mandy. I mean, he's belting it out. So, cut to later, and we see what we think is Carlton and Cindy get married. Will gets there right and does the stereotypical "no," and then when the people turn around, it's like the stunt doubles. And I think one of the dudes is Ashtray's dad from Don't Be a Menace. Because I recognize the voice, but he had a bunch of facial hair and hair, so I couldn't really tell.
Who is also Lorenz Tate's older brother, Lamar Tate. And ironically, Lorenz Tate guest starred on the show 2 weeks prior on That's Not a Woman, That's My Cousin. Yeah, that's the same guy. And I want you to organize my Sega Genesis cartridge and cut the hair off my balls.
But Will stops it. They turn around. It's not them. And I think also like he fucks it up somehow because he's like, you can't get married because you're having a baby. And like the guy's like, "We having a baby," or some shit. Like he fucks some up. Or something funny happens there. But then Will like kind of turns around once he realizes that's not Carlton. Just sees Carlton by himself, just sort of sulking on a pew.
She left me.
Man, she took
like,
off. See,
I got the feeling that she didn't want to leave with me. What gave you that impression? She told me that she didn't want to live with me.
This is like one of those moments when you're young, Steve, where you've been like living a lie and you have to just admit, like, I just have to tell somebody. He's like, "It's not my kid. I know it's not my kid because we never had sex." Because, Will, this is tough for me to tell you, I'm a virgin. And nobody ever wants to say that. I remember being so scared to tell people that. But he's him and Will have a relationship where he tells him that, and Will's like, "What?" Not the reaction you want, but he's like, "Well, clearly it's not your kid then." That's an easy one.
Will kind of gave him the green light because he said, we have to lie a lot about our sexual prowess. So, there's a lot of pressure on us too. And he's like, "Okay, well, that being said, I'm You're German. I'm a virgin, Will. And then that's when the other couple they walk by is like, well, it's good to know somebody still is.
That's what it was. Hell yeah. And Sydney, turns out, went back to her parents. They let her back to the house because once they found out she was going to be marrying Carlton, they were like, nah, 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 nah. You can come back to the house. Don't make that mistake.
They got her right away.
So, Carlton, missed that, dodged that bullet, Steve. But Lark Voorhees in the 90s, if somebody could, force me into just forced paternity, she could be one of those people because, man, she's a baddie and she's hot as hell in this episode. But shame on you, Cindy.
And if we're playing Fuck, Marry, Kill, after watching this, I was reminded, nah, man, I'm marrying Lark Voorhees. I'll fuck Kelly.
I remember just because I saw, I didn't watch the full movie, but that she was in How High also. As like the Method Man's love interest.
Yeah.
And in that movie, if you remember too, very hot. So she aged very, for a while, she was just a baddie, Steve. So I'm with you. I'll marry her too. We can just have one of those weird polygamous relationships, I guess. I don't know.
She's both ours. And somebody who probably didn't watch this episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in 1992 is probably Washington Redskin Art Monk. He was busy setting the NFL record of 820 receptions.
I might have his card somewhere here, Steve. I'll have to look through Art.
Yeah, man.
You didn't like him, though. He's a Redskin. That's your arch. Well, it's not really your arch enemy. They're not that.
They are.
They are. They're in your division, but I'm just saying, I would put just knowing Dallas fans, the Eagles above the Redskins.
Of course, now, historically, it's been the Redskins, but they haven't been relevant since Art Monk broke this record. So it's since then, the Eagles have been a bigger problem, and the Giants have been a bigger problem. Well, the Giants not so much this year, but yeah, shout out to Art Monk. I think this was the last time they were actually relevant.
Yeah, Joe Gibbs was their coach, right? This is it.
Still, yeah.
That team, yeah. So, yeah. Dan Snyder took over, and now they're not even named the same thing. Everyone hates them, and I think they were hoping Carson Wentz was their savior, and that's never going to happen. So,
Amanda never knew her. But on that same day in 92, Bret the Hitman Hart beats Ric Flair for the WWF Heavyweight title. And this was on an episode of Superstars, a taping at Saskatchewan Place in Saskatoon on October 12th. And it was not originally broadcast on WWF television. Instead, it was made available in a series of Coliseum home video releases, which I found weird because usually when a title changes hands, especially at this time, it was televised on a pay-per-view or somewhere on a Saturday night main event, maybe.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Superstars. That was the one that was on Saturdays, right?
Saturdays, man.
Yeah. That's good. That is wild, though. They had these two guys, a title change hand, these two superstars, and it just never got aired on regular TV or anything. That is wild. But damn, look at those dudes, studs.
Yeah. In 1993, Pearl Jam releases Versus, and that is the one with Dissident is here, and don't call me daughter, not in the
what do you think of Pearl Jam, Steve? Where do they stack up for you? Because I gotta be completely real with you. Pearl Jam never spoke to me. They have songs that I know, and if I hear them on the radio, I get nostalgic, but I don't think I even ever owned a Pearl Jam anything.
Me either. And you know what, from doing this show and reviewing these albums and stuff, they've grown on me because I was just dude, they're overrated, but I forget some of the songs they had that I fucked with. And Dissident, that's cool. Of course the 10 album, their debut, that was full of their shit, the hitters. And then he did that joint venture with Chris Cornell, Eddie Vedder, which I fuck with, man. But with that being said, they're at the bottom of the totem pole of Seattle bands for me. It goes Alice, Nirvana, Soundgarden, then Pearl Jam.
I'd switch Soundgarden and Nirvana in my list, but I think Nirvana's below Soundgarden. I think because
Huh?
of longevity and also the amount of hits, it's tough. I mean, Nirvana wasn't
True.
they had a lot, but for me, Soundgarden was more of my thing. But I'm with you. Alice is the pinnacle. I love that band so much. I'm glad to hear that.
For sure, for sure, for sure. And also in 93, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince released Code Red. And that's the one with tick, 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 boom, boom, shake, shake, shake the room. This is Fresh Prince's entry of the figgity shiggity diggity world of the early 90s.
Dude, is this the one? I had an album of the Fresh Prince that had a song that featured Freddy Krueger. Steve, do you remember that song?
Oh, you're talking about the 80s.
Is that 80s?
Nightmare on My Street or something like that.
I was thinking about that the other day. Because we brought this album up, it came into my head, but I don't remember this one. I don't know. This was not something I bought into too much. There was, Miami and all that shit. Like later on, I did own that, but this, I wasn't buying a lot of albums, so I never got this.
Well, he released this album during the gangster era, and he's Will Smith, man. He's clean cut. He don't cuss in his raps to sell records. Well, I do. So for him, anyways, man, he had another song on here called Shadow Dreams, which I liked, but it's pretty innocent in comparison to his contemporaries of the time, man. When you're lining that up with a Chronic and Eazy-E and an Ice Cube going on and Tupac around this time, and it's just like, oh, boom, shake, shake, shake the room, boom,
G-rated gangster rap, yeah, it's not a good recipe for success.
One of his songs is called Twinkle Twinkle I'm Not a Star. He's not trying to play hard at all. That's
And then he'd go on later in decades to just slap the shit out of somebody on live TV. So who's the gangster, Steve?
Because of that pressure. It's all that pressure from
being a fake sometimes, like having to eat some of that shit that you want to say. Maybe that is it, Steve. You might be right.
Being that good guy for so long. But also in 93, Leaders of the New School releases Time, The Inner Mind's Eye. And this is a great album from beginning to end. I don't know how you feel about the boom bap, but this is young Busta Rhymes in his original group. That's how we were initially introduced to him. And like, it's crazy to think that the man has been around for 30 plus years, man, and he's still relevant. Like there's something to be said about an artist who started in the 80s or 90s and can still travel through the different eras of an ever-changing genre of like hip hop, man. He was able to go through the gangster rap era. He was able to go through the early 2000s of the snap movement, the crunk era, and still thrived, man. Still relevant and still touring.
Yeah, I mean, I bought an album of his in high school. We were blasting him in early 2000s when remember that song? I think, man, was it
Pastor Kavasi? Yay! Don't this shit, maybe.
Didn't he have one with like Exhibit and shit? It was like they were like riding on like a fucking fuck.
I can't call it, but that sounds right.
Yeah, but it was just like some of the shit that we listened to like in the dorms and stuff. But yeah, dude, Busta Rhymes also became a cool actor and shit. He was in fucking Shaft. I just watched that movie recently and forgot he was in that shit. Man, this is some pugnin' ass shit. Shit like that, but Higher Learning. Also, he actually was one of the few people that survived Michael Myers, I believe. He got to beat the shit out of Michael Myers. I love that. And yeah, man, I fucking Busta Rhymes, dude. I loved like Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See, that album. I think I actually have that for some reason because my parents kept it. So
true indeed.
But 30 years, man, you can't to do anything for 30 years. You got to be fucking great at it. So this dude's stayed relevant. It is wild. Is he back to being buff? Because I feel like Busta Rhymes, like size wise, has fluctuated a lot. Like at one point, he looked like a brick shithouse.
Yeah, he was crushing it in the gym, man. But recently, like the pictures I've seen him, man, he kind of like, plumped out a little bit more. But hey, man, I don't want to go there. Not with the legend, Hey, somebody else who's a legend is Salt and Pepper, the powerful female group, probably the first relevant female hip hop group, as they dropped Very Necessary. And this is the one with, hey, yeah, I wanna shoot, baby. Don't you know I wanna shoot, baby. And what a man. And man, let me tell you, in the box era, I would watch that a lot. And both of those videos would be in heavy rotation. And me being a 10-year-old wanting to learn all the poppin' songs and the lyrics, I didn't know any better. I'm just thinking like it's hip hop. I want to learn all of these lyrics and I'm going to impress my friends in school. So in hindsight, I'm realizing, man, maybe I shouldn't been learning those salt and pepper lyrics because, I would say the words and just wouldn't even like, oh man, yeah, dude, they probably thought you were like,
what am I good, man?
if she want to be a freak and sell it on the weekend, it's none of your business. If I want to take a guy home with me tonight, it's none of your business. Like, whoa.
Steve,
yeah, probably.
Steve, your friends are like, yo.
Back to the Snoop shit.
I told you to do regulators, man.
Yeah. Back to the Dre shit.
That's funny, dude. That's the struggle when there is a fire ass like female artist though that you have to go through as a dude because you're like, I can't be like, yeah, sucking on dicks. It's like, okay, I shouldn't be saying this shit, but it's fire beat, so I don't know.
Yeah, this is where I
never
out.
did it in public though, Steve. I love that though. That's gotta be kind of a weird, painful memory. I love that.
It's like, yeah, man. What a mighty good man.
Sexy like dance moves and stuff. Like all your friends are like, I can't hang out with Steve anymore, man. I just can't do it.
Yeah, shoot. Oh, but in 1996, the RuPaul show debuts on VH1. I vaguely remember this, man. It was like a talk show. I think there were some skits involved. It lasted 2 seasons, 100 episodes. So that's enough for
100 episodes in
syndication.
2 seasons, though. God damn. I mean, you really shot it out.
I think that was a weekly deal, like a Monday through Friday kind of deal.
Well, if
maybe.
they did 102 seasons, that's 2 years, and that's 100. Like, there's only 52 weeks in a year, so I mean, they basically only had 4 weeks off, in that time. But that's great. What year is this?
This is 96.
96. So 96, RuPaul had that. Now RuPaul's had RuPaul's Drag Race for goddamn, I don't even know how many seasons because my wife watches it. That show also has multinational. It's like The Office. It's in every country. So RuPaul has to be closing in on $1 billion. That's a big number, but I mean, to have multinational syndication for your show and just being able to, I don't even think she does all the shows because there's like RuPaul's Drag Race fucking Guatemala and shit. So she's just putting her name on. That's crazy. That's awesome.
Probably still getting the check though, but somebody who probably didn't watch the debut of the RuPaul show is probably French tennis player and fashion designer who co-founded Lacoste, Rene Lacoste, at the age of 92. I mean, obviously he died of old age, but he was nicknamed the Crocodile because of how he dealt with opponents. He's also known worldwide as the creator of the Lacoste tennis shirt.
Okay, Lacoste. I mean, I just saw them and I was fat, so I couldn't wear those shirts, but I didn't know it was a tennis shirt. I have Lacoste shirts. Shout out to Mr. Lacoste. I love a guy.
Lacoste to be the boss.
I'm not even going to say anything else, Steve. You did it.
Were you going to say that?
No, I can't say anything better than that. So take me out of the game. You just did it.
Well, man, it's also the maker of my favorite cologne of all time. One of these days, I'm going to get that cologne again. If you see it, and it's in a green box, and it's got a gray, it's basically like a gray top, cologne top, man. Some of the flyest smelling shit, man. But 1997, we lose American singer, songwriter, guitarist, and actor John Denver on October 12th. And he would die in a plane crash in Monterey Bay near Pacific Grove, California, and while making a series of touch and go landings at the nearby Monterey Peninsula Airport. And at the time, his pilot license was actually revoked. He a year prior had some drunk driving charges, and while he was on probation to work that out, he wasn't doing his due diligence, man. So he really had no business driving or piloting the plane, man. And he died from multiple blunt force trauma.
Well, he was something that I just had a big connection to his music because my parents listened to the fuck out of him. But what was his songs? Rocky Mountain High. That was one of his songs. I feel like he sang a lot of, like, he was like I guess you'd call him like what, a folk singer?
A folk singer, yeah.
Crazy hair. He had crazy, like, Hulk. If Hulk Hogan kept the hair on the top of his head, he had Hulk Hogan hair.
Adam from Grayskull, if you will.
Yeah, he did have a He-Man cut, basically. Yeah, that was basically it. And also, I don't know if you remember those movies, because he actually started acting too. He's in a movie called like Oh God with George Burns.
With George Burns, yeah.
And so those were funny too. I mean, he was kind of like a big celebrity. He kind of outgrew music a little bit and was like, a big name. But that is crazy that I knew he died in a plane crash, but I guess I just never knew it was him flying the plane. That's wild. That sucks.
And he was the lone passenger, man. And that following year, 98, we lose another person, gay student at University of Wyoming, Matthew Shepard. 5 days after he was beaten outside of Laramie, he succumbed to his injuries at the age of 21.
Yeah, that was a huge news because that was like, I mean, that was some like old school level, like crazy violent shit that was perpetrated on a dude. This was like a gay, like a big milestone in gay rights and stuff too that came off the back of this because he got tortured basically.
Yeah, gay rights, and it also ignited the whole hate crime law. I don't know if the hate crimes were actually in act before this, but it added to it.
I mean, this caused like a huge discussion. There was like, remember that, was it Linda Ellerby? It was like somebody that was like a big educational name, like Channel When, where they like MTV would do like round tables when like crazy shit happened, where it was almost like a group discussion of something. And I remember MTV like had a bunch of teens and stuff talk about their thoughts about this because this was like a level of heinous crime that it just was something that was so absurd and so crazy that it got like, it was like such huge, like you said, it caused a lot of like legislation and shit to be done, but it was a like almost like an Emmett Till level like atrocity that was committed on a dude, just for something that it was just him, just for being himself. So it was wild.
Just living. And RIP, man. But that following year, 1999, Youngbloods released their debut album, Against the Grain. And I would know about them from the 2000s when they would drop a lot of their Lil Jon collaborations. But this song called 85, I know you waiting for daddy. It won't be long, shorty. Be patient because I'm coming to you. Driving dirty on 85, slow, taking it easy. I don't want you to take it. Like that shit. I thought that was an Outkast song for the longest, man. Come to find out it was them. And this album bangs, man. They got a lot of that that southern, like, I mean, you would have thought like Outkast like produced some of these songs.
Damn. I always associated with Lil Jon, so I would not think that at all. Like melodic beats and shit like that.
Totally.
That's cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I think you like it, bro. And also in 99, Mos Def releases Black on Both Sides, critically acclaimed, considered a staple in late 90s hip hop. When we thought boom bap was dead, it was guys like this, Talib Kweli, the Commons, the Black Thoughts of Roots. They added and reignited that spark.
Yeah, what do you call this kind of rap? Like it's just like hip hop basically. Like, but I feel like all those guys you named, it's like they're in like their own group. Of
Backpack.
Like, okay.
And Kanye, he would later be like the poster child of that in the 2000s, man. But the breakout track from Black on Both Sides is Miss Fat Booty. You familiar?
Yeah, I know that one for sure. I wasn't, like I said, I got into Mos Def like super late, and it was more because I saw him as an actor, and people were like, "Yeah, that dude raps. Here's a song," you know. It kind of like pointed that out to me after the fact. But hell yeah, dude, Mos Def.
And
What's his name now? What does he call himself?
dude, I can't even.
Because I think he just like did some with Dave Chappelle, and I saw it. I was like, he's this dude just still like he's always just like this cool artistic presence in like pop culture. Ever since
Yassine Bey.
that's okay. There we go. I think him and Talib Kweli and Dave Chappelle do a podcast together. Actually,
And speaking of which, let's not forget the gangbanger skit from Chappelle Show, which Mos Def was a part of, and Cook It Up with Bacon Powder. P.S. Corn Roller. That's thank you, Mos Def.
He was so good on that show when they did the George Bush thing, when like George Bush was black, and he was like, "Yeah, man, all this yellow cake, man, don't drop that, don't you dare drop that shit." Okay. That's also, I gotta give it up to Mos Def because of all the like, there's a lot of rappers who do like shitty movies and stuff, but he had a lot of fucking awesome movies that he was in. I even like some like lesser known. He was in a Bruce Willis movie, I remember, where he played like kind of a ridiculous character, but he was killing it for a while. I don't think he really acts anymore, but he was really good at that too.
Be Kind Rewind.
That movie's fucking. What are they doing to our hood? Fucking Boys in the Hood. I love that shit.
And also in '99, Warren G releases "I Want It All," and I know you'd love this, man, because it's got a lot of features with your boy Nate Dogg. It's got the Dog Pound, a couple Snoop collaborations, Eve, Jermaine Dupri, Mac 10, Slick Rick, El DeBarge, even Memphis Bleak is in it.
I mean, yeah, dude. I'm pretty sure I got a couple of the tracks off this on my playlist to work out in, but you can't go wrong, dude. And especially when it's got him and Nate Dogg in it, just classic. It's one of the greatest duos of all time.
Oh, hands down, man. And the title track, "I Want It All," I forget Mac 10 was in that, man. It's got the cool El DeBarge. I believe that's an El DeBarge sample. No, that's not. I can't even call it. It's the guy who passed away earlier this year.
I'm gonna look and see the name of the Warren G. Keep talking, but I'm gonna bring up a Warren G song that's on this playlist because there's one I know on this that's so fucking good.
Close to the oh man, I can't. Ooh, and I like it. Da-da-da. I think that is El DeBarge. It's the way that I can't escape. Ooh, and I like it. Da-da-da-da.
I'm not gonna take too much of this time, but I can't find. But that song's dope as fuck too. But shit, I know I love it. I can't ever find this shit when I want to look at it. But Warren G, we don't have to say it. We don't have to tell everybody this. They know he's a legend, dude.
You know who else is a legend, Matthew?
You, Steve, but who else?
That motherfucker Yanni, because he dropped a box set called
the Private Years. What the fuck?
You want to know how private? You got to get the box set.
Steve, I'd like, first of all, I'm never gonna have the hair. I'm not gonna have the hair, but just the fucking suit jacket and the white tee look that he's got going here, the seductive like musical teacher or something. I don't know, man. I can only hope to attain the level of sexy that Yanni's throwing on this box set, but dude, what is going on? I want somebody to look into the origin of Yanni, and this guy might have been around like during the he's like Apocalypse and X-Men. He's just been around forever. You know, he's an architect of the universe.
He might be a vamp, man. He doesn't age. Also in '99, 311. Yes, that group that you were apparently ashamed to tell people you liked in high school. They released Sound System. And who are the fictional teenagers we went to high school with who were beating you up for liking Dude, you liked them?
I'm telling you, the overall vibe was 311's lame. I don't get it, and I don't feel it anymore. And I'm not ashamed. I'm a 311 lovist, apologist, whatever you want to call it. I'm a fan.
Lovist,
apologist. You know, Nick Hexum. Wannabe, I don't know, but I love 311 and I had to hide it, Steve. So it's coming out now.
Yeah, well, and it's coming original. You got to come original. Power entertainers come original. You got to, and for all you podcasters who like biting people's styles and shit, you better come original. You better come original for entertainers. Like that song still jams, man. I fucks with the Nick Hexums.
Yeah, dude. 311, the self-titled, this was before the self-titled. Sound System came, I think, before that. But then self-titled, the one after that, and the one after the Transistor was the one after
Transistor.
Self-titled. Those, I mean, if we started listening to them, I can belt out some of those raps. Some of the shit in those, like some of these songs are fucking fire as fuck. So Sound System though, I can't recall the songs on this. This isn't one of my favorite albums, but 311, dude.
It's 311. And
Yeah.
also in 99, Donnell Jones releases Where I Want to Be. And this is the one with the title track, Where I Want to Be. And girl, you know what's up. You know what I need. Digging you. And I'm wanting to. What's up? That shit still goes hard. Ooh, say what, say what, say what. Yeah. Ooh, girl, you know what's up. And you know what I need.
I'd like if in a different life, I wish I could have been a John B style white R&B artist, dude. I just wish I could have done that because now looking back on it, I used to like R&B music. Like I listened to it. Now I'm like that's like really my favorite music now. I listen to that more than anything. So I don't know, man. I feel like the 90s, like, like the 70s and shit with like the Isleys and like Earth, Wind and Fire. There was like all those guys. I can name more, but like the whatever you call that, like that music, the soul music, that era, and then like there's like a time at like late 80s, early 90s to mid 90s R&B, I feel like, where it's like it's right up there with like the artists.
The New Jack.
Yeah, dude. Like Bobby Brown, fucking
Guy,
fucking
R. Kelly.
Well, all of it. We can keep going, but Keith Sweat. I've been listening to a lot, like all these people. Like it's crazy that I feel like it's almost like looked upon as like almost kind of jokey, or I don't know, maybe not, but
no, never.
Respect. Put some respect on that R&B, guys.
Definitely, man. But where I didn't want to be, Matt, in 1999 on October 12th?
Where?
Receiving the news that we lost American basketball player and coach Wilt Chamberlain. I did not want to be on the receiving end of that news. He died at the age of 63. He had a history of cardiovascular disease and hospitalized for an irregular heartbeat in 92. And he began taking medication, but his condition rapidly deteriorated and he lost like 50 pounds around this time.
I mean, Wilt is still, dude. No, everyone respects this dude for every reason possible. He scored 100 points in a game, never been done but since. Fucked 10,000 women or whatever. Never gonna top that. The dude's a legend, and no one wants to be there for that. I didn't want to be there for that, and I didn't want to be reminded of it, Steve. So rest in peace, Wilt. We love you, bro.
Did a movie with Arnold and Andre the Giant. How about that?
Damn.
That's
and
pretty
still,
baller.
The number. I mean, this guy. That's a life, Steve. That's a life.
Any callbacks, honorable mentions, or takeaways?
I already showed you this treasure trove of stuff, but one other thing, and we'll bring this up some other time, that is going to be something that we go back to time and time again. This is something I found also in my travels, is a 90s trivia quiz book, Steve.
Oh.
And we got over, 600 plus questions, 85 rounds of themed questions. And, this is going to be something that we look at, but just to give you one, I don't want to get into this because I don't know where the answers are at and it might take too long, but
I bet I do. Quiz me right now, damn it.
Well, let's see here, Steve.
Let's go.
Okay. I just don't know where. Okay, potluck 3, potluck. Okay, we're just going to potluck. We're going way in the back here, Steve.
Oh shit.
After releasing the 3D racing game Virtua Racing in 1992, Sega followed up with which hugely successful 1993 3D racing game, which was later ported to the Sega Saturn?
California Dream. It's something California, right?
No.
No,
But you'll know this. I mean, this is once you know it, you're gonna be like, oh, okay.
Fail.
So there was Virtua Racing, and then you played this at Ralphie's in Perrysburg. This was in every arcade. Daytona USA, Steve.
Daytona fucking USA.
You're thinking
Yeah.
Cruisin' USA, which had a
Cruisin'.
California vibe, but I get where you're going with that. But yeah, that was some video game shit. We got Brushes with the Law, Steve. You know, we got a treasure trove here. So TBD on this. I'll bring it up again. Looking forward to it, but I'm looking at these questions, Steve. I don't even know if people like experts like us might be equipped to some of these answers because I'm struggling. But we got a whole
Definitely
Quentin Tarantino section of the book, so I'm looking forward to it.
I dropped the ball on that question, but yeah, all I got, man, in 1991, SNL is airing the show with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers as the musical guest and Kirstie Alley. And, you know, that's memorable because she actually killed it. You know, in her monologue, she had her Cheers cohorts come out and they in sync. They sang the Cheers theme song. It was great, man. And you know, everybody's talking about how they hosted and sharing their experience. Ted Danson, Woody Harrelson, George Wendt. And meanwhile, Kelsey Grammer was like, "Oh, that's great, man, but I never hosted." They're ignoring him. It's like, "Oh yeah, really? That's how it went, man. Like, it'd be great if I hosted." And eventually Kelsey Grammer would host. He hosted, I want to say, at least 2 times later in the decade. And he ended the monologue by doing the kick out, "Hey, stick around. We got Tom Petty and this and that."
That's awesome, though.
And this
Hell
was
yeah.
it was great, man. And this was also the one where, you know, they go to date at the Greek restaurant and everybody's just fornicating over Kirstie Alley. And this is also in the cold opening where they're doing the Clarence Thomas. And I was like, man, should we cover this just for this monologue? And it's got all the guys there. Chris Farley's there, Dana Carvey. I believe Kevin Nealon's playing Joe Biden. And they're talking about porno. That's a really good porno. I prefer the soft core.
Damn, dude. I do like that was a killer episode though, Kirstie. She's widely panned, but she did kill that. And shout out to Kelsey, just to go back real quick, shout out to him, because Frasier's about to come out again, Steve. They're rebooting it. So we're going to have some more Kelsey to see playing a 90s character, and I'm looking forward to that too. That's actually starting this coming week. So shout out.
Countdown begins. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister to boom, shake, shake, shake the room. Boom, shake, shake. Take out Food Show Fanatics. Crush Gasm with Kendra on Wednesdays. Don't Worry B Movie with the Man and Wade. This is Steve G and Maggie with Happened in the 90s.
Pizza.
The fuse is lit and I'm about to go boom.